YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to Packs and Meta. And like I promised in my previous video, we are going to talk about the Orcust archetype, or more specifically, the Girsu on 3 copies. So basically, we were going to do a deck profile here and then our replays. And then later along the video, we will summarize or conclude whether or not the Orcust is a really good deck to go into the meta. And with our 10 games that we can manage to pull out majority of the wins for this deck. Right off the bat, our deck profile, we have 3 copies of Maxi, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, and 2 copies of Cold by the Grave with 1 copy of Crossroad Designator as our staples for the deck. We are also running 2 engines for this build. So 1 copy of Drew Swarm, 1 copy of Magnamut. For our Kashtira engine, we are running 3 copies of our Unicorn, and then 2 copies of our Fenrir with 1 copy of our Birth. Now, this might not be the best of synergy with the Orcust, since Orcust will lock you into dark monsters only, but having to summon first your Kashtira monsters, and then your Orcust line will be somewhat okay. Anywho, Orcust monsters, we have 1 copy of Symbol Skeleton, 3 copies of Harp Horror. People are using 2 copies of this in their deck, but for the sake of this video, just go with 3 copies. It's much better to see this in the graveyard so that you can spell summon an Orcust monster from your deck to the field. 3 copies of your Girsu, which was unlimited last 31st. 2 copies of our Nightmare. You just basically need 2 copies of this monster. You don't want to run 3 because you'll brick. And lastly, 1 copy of World Legacy World 1, which you can spell summon 1 monster from the banish pile to your side of the field. Oh yeah, 1 Crescendo. So Crescendo is a monster spell and trap card and negation as long as you have a Link Orcust monster in the field. That's basically it. My purpose for this deck is going second because I tried going first with this deck. It was really hard to actually pull off a really good board. I do know there are some other cards that can support a going first type of Orcust build, but I'd rather run with going second and then just remove your opponent's boss monster or just wipe the field out. You can run evenly match with this deck. Board breakers. So board breakers, we are running 3 copies of Gamma Seal, 2 copies of Lightning Storm, 1 copy of Harpy Spirit Duster. People are not really into the Lightning Storm if you have a continuous spell or a field spell, but I do prefer it's still very useful. You go for Lightning Storm first and then use your field spell. Majority of the time, you can basically search this with the help of your Galatea later along the line. Triple Tactics and Nibiru. So Nibiru is a really good counter to Dragon Lynx, which is really top tier at the current state of Master Duel. Triple Tactics, during your second turn, basically they always activate a monster effect, so you can use the Triple Tactics to your advantage for that. Extra deck wise, 1 copy of Chaos Angel, 2 copies of Girsu, 1 copy of Zeus, 1 copy of Linkuriboh, 3 copies of Galatea, 1 copy of Masquerena, 1 copy of Azalea, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Long Girsu, 1 Avermax, 1 Zeraboros. If you have a ton of monsters banished, that's really beneficial for Zeraboros. And lastly, 1 copy of Access Code Talker as one of your OTK parts. So that is the deck profile, guys. Let's check out the replays, and later along the line, we'll check out our 10 games with, of course, our conclusion for this deck. So see you in a bit. Alright, so those were the replays, and that is the deck profile for you guys today. So with regards to the win rate, here is the list. So with the games that we had earlier, we managed to garner like a lot of wins with the Orcust deck. So we started off here at our first game. We lost that one nevertheless. So after 10 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So out of 10 games, we got like 7 wins in total. So I'll take that any time of the day. So that's really good for the going second Orcust deck that we managed to pull off. And then afterwards, after that game, we managed to score another wins afterwards, and it got us into Diamond 3. So that's still really good. That is a strong deck for that matter. So those were the games, and yeah, my conclusion for the deck: will this be significant enough to play in ranked with the current meta of Dragon Link? Still, tier elements sprites are still in the game as well. Branded are also here, but we haven't dealt with any branded decks at the current state. But nevertheless, I would say Orcust is a really strong deck. If you really know how to play the Orcust deck, you can manage to go into Masters with this deck as well. There are a lot of good builds with the Orcust, since majority of their archetype revolves only into a limited number of monsters, which of course you can add additional ones to support the Orcust. But anywho, that is basically it for today. Keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Hopefully we can make another deck profile before the new selection pack comes into Master Duel by Thursday. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.